This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
In Operation Crime and Justice, one of the biggest stars in country music is in trouble again. This is video of country star Morgan Wallen in the back of a Metro police car. Tonight he's facing a series of felony charges.
Well, officers say that Wallen threw a chair off of Chief's rooftop bar on Broadway. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller joining us live on Broadway tonight, where this all happened in the late night hours. Caitlin.
Megan, Scott, Morgan Wallen was up 6 stories at the Chiefs bar right behind me. That's where Metro Police say that he threw a chair over the roof, and while it didn't hit anyone, Wallen faces serious charges tonight. The sounds of commotion after Metro Police say they saw a chair come from above and hit Broadway. This video shows Morgan Wallen in the police car after staffers at Chiefs told officers that Wallen was responsible for the chair falling 6 stories. Fox 17 News spoke with people outside of Chiefs.
As an artist, I think it's kind of insane to kind of do what he did, especially when he's already been arrested once.
Broadway musician Michael Burgess says he sees crazy things happening on Broadway every day, but he says this is bad.
You get pretty famous real quick or whatever, you know, you're still a human, you know, and you got to react right.
Officers arrested Wallen for 3 counts of reckless endangerment and 1 count of misdemeanor disorderly conduct. We spoke with emergency room Dr. Alex Hampton about the damage this chair could have caused if it hit a person.
I mean, if we're talking just head injury, you've got to look at issues with your skull or brain. There's also means where you could have issues with lung or ribs, your collarbone. Many other injuries could be in play.
Even some of Morgan Wallen's biggest fans are shocked that he's accused of something like this.
I was actually amazed. I was like, no way Morgan Wallen could have done that in Nashville.
Because it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it'd be pretty scary not knowing like where the chair's being thrown at or anything. So, I mean, that could have hit anybody really.
Wallen's attorney says he is cooperating fully with authorities. Wallen bonded out of jail this morning. Now his court date is set for May 3rd, which is also his scheduled tour date here in Nashville. And as of right now, he is still scheduled to have that concert here in Nashville. Reporting live from Broadway, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Caitlin, thank you. Continuing coverage now. As you may remember, this is not the first time we have seen Morgan Wallen in the hot seat. Back in May of 2020, Metro Police arrested him for public intoxication. This was down on Broadway as well after security guards kicking him out of Kid Rock's Honky Tonk. Then a year later, 2021, he faced an award show ban after being caught on camera here in town making racial slurs. His record label suspended him at the time. Wallen then promised to make good by donating hundreds of thousands of dollars to charity.
Well, this just in, too. Country music star John Rich taking to social media with his reaction to Wallen's arrest. Rich saying in part that he too remembers doing what he says were some destructive, crazy things early in his career. Rich goes on to say he hopes Wallen has some people around him who can step in and help the young star find a new approach to life. Rich cautions, saying it takes a lifetime to build what he's built and 1 second to destroy it all. Rich says he's rooting for Wallen to turn things around. You can see all of our video and reaction from Morgan Wallen's recent arrest at fox17.com. Just search Wallen.
An update now on the man arrested for the Easter Sunday shooting at the Roasted Bistro in Salem Town here in Nashville. Metro Police say 46-year-old Anton Rucker is now back in Tennessee and Nashville. Officers brought him back here following his arrest last week up in Princeton, Kentucky. Rucker's accused of killing 1 man and hurting 6 others in the shooting. He's got a long rap sheet and right now is being held on a murder charge without bond.
Meantime, community members in Salem Town are sticking close as they continue to heal from the Easter shooting. They remembered the victims last night. Roasted owner and head chef Erica Fitzer sharing her thanks to those who have reached out.
Tonight in Crisis in the Classroom, another call for Tennessee's Education Commissioner Lizette Reynolds to resign, and this time it is coming from the Republican Party. Reynolds under fire after admitting she received a state tuition waiver that she wasn't entitled to. The rules say you have to be a state employee for 6 months to qualify, but records show she signed 2 different documents to get the discount after only being on the job for a couple of months.
It makes me really sad. I'm really disappointed. I think she's making somewhere around $215,000, $220,000 a year, and to fill out a false document trying to receive more money to take from the taxpayers, it's really sad, and I think she should definitely step down immediately.
Previous controversy for her came when critics learned that Reynolds does not meet the qualifications to be Education Commissioner in Tennessee. She's taking classes right now at UT Martin to make that right. Reynolds' office tells Fox 17 News that tuition discount was a clerical error and she's since given the money back. You can hear more from state lawmakers on this topic on Fox 17 this morning starting at 4 a.m. And Crisis in the Classroom is Fox 17 News' ongoing commitment to you, our viewer, to expose problems in our schools and to find solutions. If you have a story you'd like to see us cover, tell us about it. Send that email to news@fox17.com, or you can phone our tip line at 615-266-4149.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Would you look at that? A total solar eclipse captivating the nation as daylight turns to darkness in a large path across the country, even giving Middle Tennesseans a partial eclipse today. We could hear the voice of that was Code Red Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan. She joined hundreds of people to experience totality. She was up here in Marion, Illinois, location on the map, just a few hours to our north. And Katie has been on site there to experience it all, giving us a front row seat.
Fox 17 Code Red Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan with you, and boy, what an amazing experience we saw here in Marion, Illinois. We're actually on the baseball field here, the Thrillbillies Stadium. They put on quite a show, lots of folks out, and you can see that we still have some folks that are hanging out this afternoon, but we really had an amazing show, had the complete view of the total solar eclipse, and of course the corona, which was the part of the sun that's only visible during the eclipse and is safe to look at. So we were able to take off our glasses, which during any eclipse, it's only safe to do so, of course, during the totality part of it. It was about 4 minutes long here in southern Illinois, and I think we picked a really good spot to see everything going on, from the planets to the lack of animals. We didn't hear any birds chirping, and the 360-degree sunset that was going on. An amazing time here in Marion, Illinois with the total solar eclipse. We'll send it back into you.
Wow, what an experience, Katie. Thanks so much for making that drive. And we want to know what you think, or what you think, more so, did you or didn't you be able to see the eclipse today? This poll is live right now, and 368 votes have come in. 54.1% said yes, they were able to see that eclipse today. 45.9% say no. You can cast your vote by scanning the QR code there on your screen. It will take you to our X page. Our handle's at Fox Nashville, and we'll show you updated poll results here a little later tonight.
All right, sir, we had a little bit of a glimpse here, but a lot of us didn't get to see much of it because of the cloud cover.
I know, and you know, we had been watching those clouds several days leading up to the eclipse, and it was looking like it was going to be kind of cloudy, and unfortunately that's exactly how it was. Looks like where Katie was, though, it was nothing but nice sunny skies.
I know, sweet up there.
I know, she had a great
different experience.
I know, so I'm glad at least some of those folks in the path of totality actually had the clear skies, because that's where you can really see how different it is. You were seeing the video that, I guess that was Katie and them that shot up there of the actual total solar eclipse. I'll show you some of the pictures that we got here around Nashville. Just nothing like what it was like up in there in the path of totality. We also had a couple of rogue thunderstorms get pretty strong. Some severe thunderstorm warnings were issued for the western edges of our viewing area close to the Tennessee River, and this is why. They had strong winds, but they had some very large hail. That is some golf ball size, I would say, at least right there. This came out of Camden. Thanks a lot, Hike Perez, for sending this photo into us. There's a quarter right there, so just give you a little comparison. inside. That is definitely bigger than quarter-sized hail. So you had some very large hailstones, but then you just had so much of it too. It looks like there was snow on the ground, looking like snow right there on the roadway. This was sent in to us from Cody Warren. That was also in Camden. That severe thunderstorm pushed right up through Camden and kept on moving to the northeast, pushing in closer to Interstate 24 around Clarksville. And this is Katie's shot as she was headed back into town, and you can just see that huge towering cloud way off in the distance. That was the one that was responsible for dropping just so much of that large hail in a very short amount of time. I'll show you some of these storms on radar over the past 3 hours. You can see these yellow polygons, severe thunderstorm warnings. Those storms just quickly moved off to the northeast, taking it right through areas like Clarksville and in the Hopkinsville too. That finally exited our viewing area and lost some of those ingredients, so it kind of just fizzled out pretty quickly once it crossed the Tennessee and Kentucky state line. Here's what we're left with right now. Not much of anything, just a few spotty showers, some of those moving into our far southwestern areas, and then just some spotty showers along and north of Interstate 40. Overall, though, nothing strong right now. No bad weather for us tonight. We are looking at a rainy week ahead. I'll show you those days, and then when we dry out, all that in just a bit.
State.
Spring sale at Family Leisure.
Great deals on patio furniture, pools and spas, only $29.99. Huge savings on pool tables, game tables, and more. Spring sale going on now at Family Leisure.
We try to prevent those wrecking balls from tearing into this building.
An update tonight as the owner of Monell's at the Manor continue to fight to keep the historic building from demolition. Well, that demolition is expected here to begin in just a few weeks.
That's right, but it's not a done deal yet. Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker tonight revealing new information that could help to save this building from that wrecking ball.
According to the Tennessee Historical Commission, this building right behind me meets the criteria for listing in the National Register of Historic Places, which is why city and state leaders are looking into possible consequences if it's demolished.
This iconic mansion with decades of history was built in the 1800s, but for the last 13 years, it's been home to Monell's. The owner of the Southern restaurant, Michael King, says he learned the airport authority would not renew his lease last year.
Monell's won't go broke tomorrow because we're not in the manor, but it's a fight worth doing for the sake of history.
Through our previous reporting, Fox 17 News learned of the back and forth between King and the landowners. The airport authority said the building is old and does not comply with the Americans with Disability Act. However, King offered to pay for any renovations and even said he'd pay to move the entire building.
When you are demolishing a historic property, you have to go through a review committee.
King says last week he had a conversation with Tim Walker, the executive director of the Metro Historical Commission. Several years back, this letter with Walker and the Tennessee Historical Commission said the site is eligible for listing in the National Register of Historic Places due to its past.
I know that Tim Walker's sending the airport the conversation that we had saying that building cannot get a demolition permit because he won't allow that until they go through a review process.
Now, we reached out to the airport authority ourselves to find out if they'll follow through on their plans to demolish the site. They forwarded us the same response from last month with their intended move-out date.
I think there's concern amongst the ranks that the airport would start doing this demolition in the middle of the night, tear it down from the back forward. And so we're really, really concerned because we know that when we leave on the 30th, there's no protection to that building unless we chain ourselves to the column.
As of now, King must be out by the 30th.
So as you can see, with just 22 days left to spare, Monell's really is in the 11th hour now. Keep in mind, there are petitions online with thousands of signatures to save this building right behind me. We, of course, will let you guys know if anything changes. For now, reporting in Nashville, Kylie Walker, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
All right, and as we have Katie driving back as we speak, went up to Illinois for the totality.
I know, that would have been so cool to get to see. And they had great weather for it up there too.
She was totally geeked out.
She had been talking about it too the past several days leading up to this. Yeah, she loves this sort of stuff. It's just really cool. She missed out at least on a lot of the bad weather, but as she was driving back, she sent in a really cool photo of that one storm from off in the far distance that was dropping all that hail from those pictures that I was just showing you earlier. That was that severe thunderstorm, warned storm right here. This is when it was right over Camden. It dropped a lot of hail in Camden. and it was very big hail too, around golf ball size or so, even some very large hailstones. That severe storm got severe warned, and it just stayed severe warned all the way up to the Tennessee and Kentucky state line. Ran into some slightly drier air and fortunately just ran out of gas as it pushed up further to the northeast. So that storm eventually weakened. Finally, it just took a while for it. Here's what we're left with right now, though. Really not seeing a whole lot of activity. This is a radar loop over the past 3 hours. A few showers are still sticking around with us. This is the current radar image, 9:19. Still just seeing that one shower down there in a very far southwestern areas of the viewing area. And then we're going to see more of that as we head on into the next several days. More showers will begin to build on in. As far as any severe weather threat goes, none of that for us tonight. That severe weather threat is still going to stay to the south and to the west of us. Again, no severe thunderstorms that we'll have to worry about for the overnight hours tonight, even though you probably will be waking up to some rainfall as you head on into early tomorrow morning. So for the rest of the night, I think we're pretty dry. Fast forward a few hours, though, by 3, 4 o'clock, some of those showers are going to start to move in from the south, and that's going to get more widespread. Just keep pushing up north, where you see these yellows and oranges along and north of I-40 around 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's indicating some heavier rainfall. South of that, just some lighter rain showers in that lighter shade of green. By noon, we could still be seeing some more of that. We might get a little bit of a break down here in our southwestern counties for the middle part of the afternoon. So not everybody's going to see rain all day long tomorrow, but this is going to be off and on a scattered activity as we go throughout the day. Wednesday, early in the morning, that line still right there along the Tennessee and Kentucky state line. That'll push off to the north, but then back in from the west. This is 7 o'clock. We have more showers moving in. So basically the point I'm trying to make is just off and on rain for tomorrow. We're going to carry that rain chance over into Wednesday and Thursday too. The good news, though, any severe weather threat, I think that is going to stay fairly low. If we get any strong storms, I think the best day for that will be on Wednesday, and that's going to be mainly for our southern counties. I'll try to get to that map here in just a second, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday should be beautiful for us. I think we're going to get plenty of sunshine for the start of the weekend, and we're going to stay warmer too. Upper 70s return for us by Saturday. Severe weather outlook for Tuesday, that is still to the southwest of us, and then as we head on into Wednesday, I think that mainly stays south of here, but you see that little shade of green popping up into our southern counties. We could see some of those storms try to produce some strong wind gusts, maybe some quarter-sized hail or so as they move in on a Wednesday. I'll show you that 7-day forecast and have more on the weekend outlook coming up here for you in just a bit.
Donald got better. Now choose 2 wraps for breakfast or 2 hand-breaded chicken wraps for lunch or dinner. Morning to night, get 2 wraps, $5. Hardee's, goodness in the making.
Politics now as the race for the White House heats up. Former President Donald Trump finally laying out his abortion policy.
Fox 17 News' Kayla Gaskins explains his stance. And by the way, let us know what you think by scanning the QR code that will appear here shortly on your screen during this story.
As we near the 2-year mark of the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, abortion remains far from a settled issue in American politics. The people united! On Monday, Donald Trump clarifying where he stands.
Many people have asked me what my position is on abortion and abortion rights.
Publishing a video to Truth Social praising the conservative justices for putting an end to Roe.
For having the courage to allow this long-term, hard-fought battle to finally end.
Taking a stance on IVF treatments.
I strongly support the availability of IVF for couples who are trying to have a precious baby. What could be more beautiful or better than that?
As well as states versus federal rights to legislate abortion access.
Took it out of the federal hands and brought it into the hearts, minds, and vote of the people in each state.
Even adding in a comparison to Ronald Reagan.
Like Ronald Reagan, I am strongly in favor of exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother.
In response, President Biden releasing a statement writing, Trump is scrambling. He's worried that since he's the one responsible for overturning Roe, the voters will hold him accountable in 2024. Well, I have news for Donald. They will. Conservatives mixed in their responses. Some, like Representative Nancy Mace, applauding the former president. Senator Lindsey Graham, who supports a national abortion ban, respectfully disagrees with Trump, saying it should be up to the states. Meanwhile, Democrats still banking on the abortion issue, helping them in November.
We believe that women's reproductive freedom should be protected in this country.
Trump argues Democrats are the extreme ones when it comes to abortion for wanting looser restrictions. However, a new Fox News poll shows 59% of Americans believe abortion should be legal in all or most cases. That's up from 44% just 2 years ago.
I'm Kayla Gaskins reporting.
Well, during that story, we had a QR code linked up with this poll asking you, should abortion laws be decided by the federal government or left up to the states? We've had 637 votes come in on this. 84.5% of respondents say it should be left up to the states. 15.5% say the federal government.
Just ahead, not just surviving, but thriving. Planned state lawmakers are considering to help
Covering the Capitol tonight, good news for small music venues across the state.
That's right. A bill that is creating a fund to help them survive and thrive is now moving forward in the legislature. This money is designed to help venues like Nashville's Bluebird Cafe, a place where artists and songwriters come to sing their songs trying to make it in the music business. Rents are high, and the independent venue was recently closed for weeks because of a leaky roof.
To make sure that they know the state is behind them, that there is a fund created if they need upgrades, et cetera, to attract more folks to these small venues. That we think the small venues here in Nashville, certainly, but it also in Memphis, et cetera, that's very important that we have other venues that would attract a different type of sound.
Bill sponsor Johnny Garrett of Goodlettsville says the measure targets the little guys, where artists make their bones before going on to play larger venues like Bridgestone Arena. Many of those places are owned or controlled by large corporations.
We did this in Nashville during COVID, and it actually saved a lot of venues and did a really good job. And so it kind of proved this concept out, and think we could do this, expand it statewide.
The bill calls for a $6 million fund to be overseen by the Tennessee Film, Entertainment, and Music Commission, but there are concerns.
If one of these small venues does take these dollars for, I don't know, a few years, 5 years, however long it is, and then they sell out to a bigger venue, is there any kind of clawback or anything to bring back any of those proceeds?
Garrett says it's a great point for the Department of Economic and Community Development to consider as it makes rules for who's eligible to receive these grants. Once drafted, it would come back to the legislature for final approval. Spill's now headed the calendar and rules in the House. The companion bill is up for a vote in the state Senate tomorrow.
Meantime, the path of totality for today's solar eclipse measured 115 miles wide. Roughly 32 million people live in that area, with an estimated 4 million traveling there. Bloomington, Indiana, just to our north, one of those places hosting about 300,000 visitors. Kelly Sabiri takes a look at the impact from eclipse tourism.
Here at Indiana University's Memorial Stadium, really the two biggest events to be here are A, graduation, and B, a Big Ten football game. I'm told by Phil Powell, a Kelley School of Business economist, that this is going to be 10 times as big of an economic event for this small college town. What we're expecting is $52 million of revenue to be generated throughout the Bloomington area. The Hoosiers hosted Captain Kirk, Star Trek actor William Shatner, as he told the story of the universe to introduce the eclipse as it reached totality. We sat down with him in the morning ahead of the event.
There are natural events taking place in the world all the time that attract our attention. We've unfortunately taken the magic away and given a scientific explanation, but there's still so much that we don't understand.
This may be the most watched eclipse ever. With it, we're expecting that $1 billion or more could be generated in the U.S. alone. Some transportation and emergency management officials have prepped over 2 years for this event. Not only was this solar eclipse longer, but the path of totality is way more populated, giving many more reasons for brands to cash in on the event. In Bloomington, Indiana, Kelly Saberi, Fox Business.
Well, as we turn to our weather, just like Kelly was talking about, moon pies are made in Tennessee, and they're cashing in this as solar eclipse survival kit, don't you know?
Bringing those back.
I know. Did you have any of these?
No, but I'm sure that they made a fortune selling these.
Probably so, yeah.
I think we got a 5-pack and it was $25.
Yeah.
$25
on
wow.
Amazon. My wife bought them, yeah.
Good.
All right, everybody's cashing in.
I guess so. Well, you know, it was kind of cloudy here, and I'll show you some of these pictures from around Middle Tennessee that we got of this eclipse. I was showing some of these a little bit earlier too, but I really liked this shot. This was an awesome shot of this partial solar eclipse that we had right here in Nashville, and you can see it right here. There's the sun and this awesome looking bird right there in the front of that shot. This was sent in to us from Patrick Stecker. I think Jim Elliott took this photo and must have sent it to Patrick. Courtesy to both of those people. Thank you all for sending that in. And here's another shot of the eclipse. This was sent in to us from Austin Hamilton. He took this shot right here in Nashville, and you can see it right there. But this was the view for a lot of us. But then if you went further south, it was even a little bit cloudier. Here's what it looked like outside of our station when I was getting into work earlier this afternoon. It was just very cloudy. We did see a couple of breaks, but most of the time we were just seeing a lot of cloud cover. So unfortunately, we didn't have the best viewing right here. The good news, though, some of those folks in the path of totality had nice clear skies and really got to see that full total solar eclipse. 65 degrees our temperature for tomorrow. It's going to be cloudy, and it's also going to be rainy too. Our average high temperature this time of year is 71, so we'll be held below that. And then as far as the rain chance goes, we're just really going to be keeping that around for the next several days. Tuesday, Wednesday, into Thursday, a good chance for some showers. A few thunderstorms going to be possible each day as well. We could see a couple of storms try to get strong in our southern tier of counties on Wednesday. We'll be keeping an eye on that, though. Thursday, though, the rain chance sticks around. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you have any outdoor plans this weekend, it is shaping up to be a beautiful weekend. We'll get plenty of sunshine, especially on Friday and Saturday, and our temperatures are going to start to warm back up, too. We're going to have a couple of days where we're back in the upper 60s. That's Thursday and Friday, but once we hit Saturday, we're going to go back to the upper 70s, 77 on Saturday. Sunday, we're in the upper 70s, and then by Monday, I think we should be able to reach about 80 degrees or so for our high temperature. Typically, we're in the lower 70s this time of year. This is from the Climate Prediction Center. This takes it out the following week, April 16th through the 22nd. We're looking at a good chance for above normal temperatures across a lot of the country, but especially right here in Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky too, also looking warmer than normal for that time frame. And then this for the same time frame, April 16th through the 22nd, we're also looking at wetter conditions too, a slightly better chance for above normal rainfall amounts in those areas across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky.
The divide over Allstate.com for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by U.S. Pest Protection.
An increasing number of Democrats calling for a break with Israel over the ongoing war with Hamas.
And as Fox 17 News' Matt Galka shows us, protests are intensifying as the situation could also be a growing liability with the Democrat voters.
Free, free Palestine!
A pro-Palestinian rally in Dearborn, Michigan over the weekend featured the chants "Death to America" and "Death to Israel." The chants coming in response to the U.S.'s support of Israel in its war against Hamas, where more than 30,000 people have died in Gaza, according to their health ministry. Dearborn represents a potentially growing problem for Democrats and President Joe Biden. The Michigan city has the largest Muslim population in the U.S. and led the effort to vote uncommitted in the state's primary, where more than 101,000 people voted that way instead of for Biden. He only won the state by 154,000 votes in 2020.
And so when they say Genocide Joe has got to go, yes, he's got to go.
The rally came in the wake of an Israeli drone strike in Gaza that killed aid workers from World Central Kitchen and had drawn outrage internationally. Israel called it a grave mistake, saying they tried to warn the aid workers, but the aid group's founder, Chef Jose Andres, called the strike unforgivable.
This doesn't seem anymore a war about defending Israel. This really, at this point, seems is a war against humanity itself.
The debate over support for the war spilled over into primetime TV last week.
None of those pro-Palestine people condemned Hamas up to this day. How long would it take them to realize that this is not only enemy of Israel, it's enemy of civilization?
What do you think Israel was going to do when Hamas cuts a hole in the fence and comes over the top and kills 1,300 people? What did you think they should have done?
I think they have every right to go in combat with Hamas, but I don't think they have the right for 92% of the death count to be civilians.
House Republicans are putting out a resolution this week condemning the president for what they call one-sided pressure on Israel when he called for an immediate ceasefire during a phone call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last week. In Washington, I'm Matt Gelka.
We had some strong and severe thunderstorms move through a few hours ago in our western areas. That has come to an end. It's going to be a calm night, but more rain is on the way. I'll let you know when we finally get a
0% interest for 5 years. Shop now, spend less, and get more. Only at Ashley.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Tonight in Spotlight on America, a concerning new layer to the shortage of chemotherapy drugs used to treat cancer.
That's right. Now it is impacting children, most of whom can be saved. But as Fox 17 News' Lisa Fletcher shows us, that's only if the life-saving drugs they need are found and administered in time.
Any patient being told the words that my 9-year-old had to hear is not okay.
Those words were out of the chemo drug that could save your life. Laura Bray and her daughter Abby, diagnosed with leukemia, would face that unthinkable scenario 3 times during the course of her treatment.
She said, well, do I die? No one had an answer for her, right? I didn't have an answer. So I just said, Abby, we're going to try to find it.
Laura enlisted hundreds of friends and family who called every children's hospital searching for the drug Abby needed.
It worked, and once we did that, I was haunted. I couldn't sleep.
Because countless other kids were being told their drugs weren't available. In fact, 75% of the 20 most essential pediatric cancer drugs have been short in the last 5 years.
These chemotherapy drugs, they're the backbones of curative and life-saving regimens for which we have no alternative. It is exceedingly rare that we can have an alternative.
Dr. Yoramanguru is a pediatric oncologist.
It's critical. I mean,
unlike adults, he told us most kids with cancer, about 85%, can be cured, but it can't be done without the necessary drugs.
How is it possible that we run out of these critical care drugs for kids?
It's complicated. There's not a lot of drug companies that want to make them. They're not cheap to make, but they are reimbursed at a very low level.
Among them, methotrexate, used for kids with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, brain tumors, and leukemia. It's been in shortage since March 2023. The most common childhood cancer is acute lymphoblastic leukemia, one that requires 10 drugs and often years to treat. 8 of those 10 drugs have been in short supply over the past decade.
What's it like to tell a family, I think I can cure your child of cancer, but I don't have the drugs to do it?
It is one of the most frustrating and difficult discussions I've had, but you're handcuffed. You don't want to treat cancer with one hand behind your back. Cancer is hard.
The FDA and independent researchers have found these shortages caused relapses requiring more intensive, toxic chemotherapy, decreased enrollment in life-saving clinical trials, and patient deaths.
We can ensure no child will ask their parent, will I die if I don't get my medicine?
Using her expertise as a business professor specializing in supply chains, Bray started Angels for Change, connecting hospitals, drug makers, distributors, doctors, and patients to work together to end drug shortages with the help of lawmakers.
The question is, are we going to do it? I didn't know drug shortages existed until this happened to my child in 2019, but they did. 10 years before they had congressional hearings. So don't let this moment go away. Don't bring me back here in 10 years. We've got to do the work, and everyone has got to come to the table.
For Spotlight on America, I'm Lisa Fletcher.
Now, along with her work on the big picture solution, Laura Bray's nonprofit works to help families that are faced with drug shortages. To read more about Angels for Change, go to spotlightinvestigates.com.
All right, a big weather event day coming down off of that, and we've got rain in the forecast.
We do have rain in the forecast, and you know, we actually had a couple of severe thunderstorms earlier today too. They got really strong. They kind of I guess, outran some of the better ingredients, but they just held together. And I'll show you some of those hail pictures coming up here again in a little bit too. But like you just heard Megan say, rain is going to be the name of the game for the next few days. We have a good chance for rain showers for at least the next 3 days. And then by Friday, I think we are going to dry out a lot better. Should be looking pretty good if you have any outdoor plans later on this weekend. Here's some of these severe thunderstorm warnings that I was talking about from earlier today. You can see those yellow polygons right there around the Tennessee River. They just kept on pushing up to the northeast, and once they got strong, they just briefly got a little bit weaker, and then they just kept staying strong all the way up to the Tennessee and Kentucky state line. Those have finally pretty much cleared on out now. Now we're just left with a few light showers. Overall, nothing really too bad. Again, though, some of those storms, especially around the Camden area, produced a lot of hail and also some very large hail in some of those areas as well, probably about the size of golf balls or so. For the rest of the night, not really looking at much rainfall. I think overall we keep it pretty dry. We're going to stay pretty cloudy though too. This is Tuesday morning. Early tomorrow morning by 3 o'clock, more of those showers are just going to start to enter from parts of North Alabama into our southern counties here in Middle Tennessee, but it'll quickly spread northward. This is 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Along and north of I-40, I think is where some of the heavier rain should set up. South of Interstate 40, still looking at just those shades of green indicating some lighter rainfall, but overall off and on showers are going to be possible for us as we head throughout the rest of the day on a Tuesday, so Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, on into the overnight hours as well. We could still be seeing some more of this. For late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, I think the best chance for rain is right there along the Tennessee and Kentucky state line. That'll move off to the north, but then another round comes in right behind that back from the west. This is 7 o'clock Wednesday morning. More of these showers pushing in close to Interstate 65, and it's just going to keep with us off and on as we head throughout the rest of Wednesday. And then Thursday, it's just basically more of the same. More off and on showers going to be possible for us on Thursday. Could see a few thunderstorms in the mix as well each day. If we see any strong storms, I think the best chance for that is going to be on Wednesday, but that should, as of right now at least, it looks like that threat is going to stay into our more southern counties. Friday, we're dry. Saturday, we're going to stay dry too. Not expecting much of a rain chance at all for us on Saturday, and a similar set for us as we head on into Sunday as well. As far as any severe weather threat goes for tonight, not going to have to deal with that. For tomorrow, I think that severe weather threat is still going to stay to the south and west of here, mainly where it was earlier today. And then for Wednesday, that severe threat mainly to the south of here, but you can see this shade of green is pushing up into our southern counties right here in Middle Tennessee. This is the severe weather outlook for Wednesday. So we could see a few storms try to get strong on Wednesday. Some of those might get winds gusting up to about 60 miles per hour or so, and a quarter-sized hail. And then on Thursday, I think that severe threat is going to shift off to the east a little bit. 15% risk in areas north of here, also in some of those areas around the Gulf Coast and Atlantic coast. So I think by Thursday, we shouldn't really be having to worry about a whole lot more in terms of any bad weather. And then Friday, we're finally drier. A good bit of rain, though, 2 to 4 inches of rain, depending on where you're at. I think some of the higher rainfall totals should set up over there in our western counties. So 2 to 4 inches total. Some areas might go up to about 5 inches, though, locally. So we could see some of those heavier storms drop a little bit more rain in some of those areas. 68 degrees, our current temperature here in Nashville. Our average high this time of year is in the lower 70s, so we're not far off of that right now. Today was a really nice day for us, except for the cloud cover and the eclipse happening. Overall, though, it felt really good. 73 on Wednesday, 67 the high on Thursday. This weekend, really nice. Upper 70s Saturday and Sunday. Plenty of sunshine on
sales event. This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Eurostone. This Fox 17 This Morning newscast is sponsored by Zander Insurance.
Well, new tonight, more than 30 million Americans stand to see some relief from student loan debt.
President Biden taking the wraps off a new plan after the one he championed last summer was shot down by the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, the president outlined this new plan today during a visit at the University of Wisconsin. It includes canceling up to $20,000 in interest for borrowers. Many people actually owe more than they originally borrowed because of the debt on the interest.
And it's only in the interest of America that we do it. And again, it's for the good of our economy. It's growing stronger and stronger, and it is. By freeing millions of Americans from this crushing debt of student debt, it means they can finally get on with their lives instead of their lives being put on hold.
If this new plan can withstand legal challenges, the president says millions of Americans could see relief as soon as this fall.
Earlier in our newscast, we told you about our X poll asking a very relevant question today. Were you able to see the eclipse? We've had almost 400 people weigh in. 53.5% say yes, 46.5% say no. We'll have another update on these numbers for you tonight on Fox 17 News at 10. And each night, look for a brand new poll on our X page that you can participate in.
Just ahead, he's just a good old boy. Bo Duke's weekend.
Saturday, April 13th in Geodis Park. It's an amazing tasting event featuring the Iroquois Steeplechase Fashion Show. Get your tickets today at bourbonbubblesfest.com. The Bourbon and Bubbles Fest by iHeartMedia, sponsored by Fox 17.
Joshua here, founder of Brown's Pressure Washing and Roof Cleaning, with a reminder that our company's goal is to wash every widow's house in Nashville for free. To help us, visit brownspressurewashing.com and click on Wash a Widow's House.
Oh, take a look at this. Dukes of Hazzard star John Snyder back in a fast car.
That's right, where he belongs. He spent his birthday, which was Sunday, helping kick off the new season out at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. The actor and singer Grand Marshal for opening night, and he sang the national anthem too, which is a tough song, as many of you know. Snyder recently a finalist on Fox's Masked Singer. Got a new album out too. Snyder's got a long list of singing and acting credits, but perhaps best known for that role as Bo Duke on the Dukes of Hazzard TV show from 1979 to 1985.
This is Fox 17 News at 10, your Code Red station.
Tonight in Operation Crime and Justice, you are looking at a video of country music star Morgan Wallen in the back of a Metro police car.
And the story that goes with those pictures, not pretty. He's facing a series of felony charges tonight after police say he threw a chair off the Chief bar, which just opened last week. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller live downtown on Broadway, where this all happened late last night.
Yes, Scott, Megan, Morgan Wallen was 6 stories up at the Chief's bar right behind me, and that's where police say he threw a chair off the rooftop. Now, fortunately, this chair did not hit anyone, but he is facing serious charges tonight. Now, this video shows Morgan Wallen in the police car after staffers at Chief told officers that Wallen was responsible for the chair falling 6 stories. Officers arrested Wallen for 3 counts of reckless endangerment and 1 count of misdemeanor disorderly conduct. We spoke with emergency room doctor Alex Hampton about the damage that this chair could have caused if it hit a person.
I mean, if we're talking just head injury, you've got to look at issues with your skull or brain. There's also means where you could have issues with lung or ribs, your collarbone. Many other injuries could be in play.
Wallen's attorney says he is cooperating fully with authorities. Now, Wallen bonded out of jail this morning. Now, his court date is set for May 3rd, which is the same time he's scheduled to tour here in Nashville. But as we're hearing it right now, he is still scheduled to have his tour here in Nashville. Reporting live from Broadway, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
In Operation Crime and Justice tonight, we are following a deadly shooting in Clarksville where police say 2 victims were found on Martin Street. No word yet on their names, a motive, or suspects. Look for updates both on air and online as we learn more.
Continuing coverage, the owner of Monell's at the Manor fighting to keep the demolition of the historic building. Nashville's airport board wants the building gone. Well, tonight, Michael King says that he has new information which could put a pause on those plans. According to the Tennessee Historical Commission, the building meets the criteria to land on the National Register of Historic Places. Now, Nashville and state leaders are looking into it.
I think there's concern amongst the ranks that the airport would start doing this demolition in the middle of the night, tear it down from the back forward. And so we're really, really concerned because we know that when we leave on the 30th, there's no protection to that building unless we chain ourselves to the column.
The airport authority said the building is old and does not comply with Americans with Disabilities Act. King offered to pay for any renovations and offered to move the entire building.
Now to the other big story of the day. Fox 17 News tracking today's solar eclipse from Texas all the way to Maine with Code Red Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan experiencing it in southern Illinois. And she had a lot of company. People came from near and far to get the best look at Mother Nature's light show.
Fox 17 Code Red Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan with you. We're in Marion, Illinois, where we just experienced totality. 4 minutes of amazing sights here. And we actually came into the baseball stadium. This is the Thrillbillies baseball stadium, and it was a great place to watch the total solar eclipse, which is actually still going on. The partial will continue for about another hour this afternoon. But I wanted to bring in actually some locals here and one from Seattle as well. This is Noah, Abby, and Jacob. And Noah and Jacob are from the Dickson area, from the Nashville area. And Abby, you're from Seattle, so we'll start with you. Abby, what'd you think about it?
It was really cool. I've actually seen one of these before in Oregon a couple years ago, but like that was a long time ago, so this was like even cooler.
Yeah, and if you've seen it once, I want to see it again, right?
I know. Bucket list times 2.
That's awesome. Crazy. That's so cool. Noah, what'd you think? What'd you think about the total solar eclipse during totality?
It was really cool how it was the moon was closing in on the sun, and I think we saw one of these, like, it wasn't like one where it got dark, but we saw it at a golf course when we were driving.
Well, I think that's really neat that you've seen more than one, at least maybe a partial eclipse. That's so cool. Now, Jacob, what did you think? Can you describe what it was like during the total solar eclipse?
I went fishing at Uncle Howard and Tempe's once, and I caught a lot of fish.
You did? Well, that's pretty cool, too. And you know what's really interesting about fish, maybe and other animals, is did you remember how quiet it was during the total solar eclipse, during the darkness?
Yes, but we had geese, and they were scaring away our fish.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we can't have that. Really cool to see all of the amazing things that were going on here today. Again, in Marion, Illinois. We'll send it back into you.
I love that. That last guy right there said he started it out, he was going fishing. So anyways, a great time for everybody right there in the path of totality. Just such a cool thing to be able to see. Here for us in Nashville, it's kind of what I was saying, 95% maximum coverage. It sounds great, but it's just nothing compared to being in the path of totality. And we had the clouds here too for us. So unfortunately, we just didn't have the greatest viewing right here across a lot of Middle Tennessee, at least. We did have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings that were issued earlier this afternoon into the evening hours, and they got pretty strong. They produced some big hail. This one is from Camden right here. Hike Perez sent this in. Thanks a lot for sending that photo, by the way. But some large hailstones. I would probably say that's about golf ball size. This is a quarter right there beside it. Obviously, way bigger than that quarter. And then this is what it looked like all on the ground. This picture is also coming from Camden. Cody Warren sent this in to us. It just looks like there is snow all over the ground, but that is all hail that is on the ground. So a very strong storm. Here's what it looked like from very far away. Katie, you just saw that she was up there in Illinois. This is as she was coming back down into Tennessee. This is close to the Tennessee and Kentucky line. There's that storm that was responsible for dropping all of that hail. She took that picture pretty far away though, but you can just see how big and tall that cloud is. You can see the severe thunderstorm warnings as they pushed across the Tennessee River. They weakened up quite a bit as they ran out of those favorable ingredients once they hit that Tennessee and Kentucky state line. As it stands right now, really not left with much activity at all. Just a couple of spotty, light, mainly showers. Not going to have to deal with any sort of bad weather through the overnight hours tonight. More rain is on the way, though. I'll let you know when this finally comes to an end later this week in just a bit.
Israel withdraws troops from
17 News, your Code Red station. Alerts, empowers, protects.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Tennessee Home Buyers.
Continuing coverage tonight on recent Israeli troop movements in Gaza.
And as Fox News' Trey Gangster reports, this movement comes as both sides are taking part in ceasefire talks.
This victory requires entering Rafah and eliminating the terrorist battalions there. This will happen. There is a date.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu laying out clear indications that his troops will enter Gaza's southernmost city of Rafah. The comments come after a surprise move over the weekend, with Israel withdrawing nearly all its forces from Gaza, leaving just one brigade with a few thousand soldiers behind. But Israeli officials say the tactical decision is not an indication the war against Hamas is over, rather a recalibration amid emerging regional threats.
I presume this is a tactical decision by the IDF and Israeli leadership in the face of a threat of a real attack from the north, from Hezbollah, or a direct attack from Iran.
As fighting grinds to a halt on Israel's southern front, negotiators met Monday in Cairo, Egypt, to hammer out the details of a ceasefire proposal. Teams from Israel, the United States, and Hamas all vying for an agreement that could end the conflict, unlike past negotiations that aimed for a temporary pause. Hamas claims no progress was made in the talks, but the meetings are seen as a last-ditch effort to avert an Israeli operation into Rafah and rescue the remaining hostages. With ongoing ceasefire talks about Gaza, Israeli forces now look north to Lebanon, where this morning a Hezbollah field commander was killed in an Israeli airstrike.
This is not routine. We are in a multi-arena war. There is no reason for panic, but also no place for complacency. We must be aware of the situation and always prepared.
Israel is now faced with a multi-front conflict that could escalate further if Iran gets directly involved. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Well, the National Association of Intercollegiate Association, which governs 250 small colleges, banning transgender women from competing in women's sports.
Now, this ban doesn't start immediately. It'll go into effect next year. The NAIA, not a part of the NCAA's 3 different divisions. 80% of the NAIA schools are private schools, and it is believed to be the first national college covering body that will mandate athletes compete according to their assigned sex at birth. Some transgender rights advocates worry that the NCAA may follow suit.
Millions of Americans experiencing total darkness. I'm Connor Hansen in Buffalo, New York, with the latest on today's solar eclipse coming up.
And we had some showers and thunderstorms.
To get your offer, call us today.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Eurostone.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen focusing on what U.S. officials are calling manufacturing overcapacity. It's the fear that a wave of low-priced Chinese exports will overwhelm factories at home.
Actions taken by the PRC today can shift world prices. And when the global market is flooded by artificially cheap Chinese products, the viability of American and other foreign firms is put into question.
Yellen specifically called out the manufacturing of electric vehicles and their batteries, as well as solar energy equipment, as areas where China has rapidly expanded. And there's growing discussion about whether the Fed will make fewer interest rate cuts or even hold off on them altogether. Experts suggesting the central bank is looking closely to see if inflation progress is stalling. Not helping matters, the March jobs report showed the labor market is remaining resilient. And don't miss out on solar eclipse specials. From a donut at Krispy Kreme to deals on burgers and pizza, you can add to your celebration with event-themed foods and some drinks too. In New York, Kelly O'Grady, Fox Business.
Well, it was one of the most anticipated astronomical events of our lifetime, and today's total solar eclipse crossed the country from Texas to Maine.
A lot of people saw it. In fact, it delighted millions, some of whom traveled for miles to see it for themselves. Connor Hansen now with more from the path of totality.
Parts of the country plunging into total darkness as the total solar eclipse treks from Texas to Maine.
We have totality.
Skies darkening overhead as tens of millions of people witness the total solar eclipse. One of the first cities in the 115-mile path of totality, Eagle Pass, Texas. The border city, dark as night in the middle of the day.
I was expecting it to get dark, but not that dark.
The moon passed over the path of totality, blocking out the sun for as long as 4 minutes and 28 seconds. Temperatures dropped significantly and a silence fell over the area. Then people broke into cheers during the cosmic event.
I thought it was awesome. Once in a lifetime experience.
For some, plans didn't go as expected. Parts of South Texas were almost blocked from seeing the eclipse. Fortunately, cloud coverage in Dallas thinned out just about an hour before the rare event. Burnett, Texas, outside of Austin, canceling their eclipse festival due to the threat of severe weather. And 2 parks in Ohio, one near Columbus, the other close to Cleveland, hitting capacity hours before the eclipse passed over.
I didn't really think we were going to see it, but we saw it, so it was really exciting.
If you missed the total solar eclipse or are just hoping to see another one, you'll have to wait about 20 years if you want to watch it here in the U.S. In Buffalo, New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Earlier in the newscast, we told you about today's X poll. The question being, were you able to see the eclipse today? A little under 400 people cast their votes, and fairly even. 53.7% says yes. Despite the cloud cover, we were able to get a glimpse, and 46.3% said no. Thank you for voting, and watch for a new poll from us tomorrow night.
Covering the economy now, the White House is pledging more than $6 billion to help a semiconductor giant expand manufacturing into Arizona. According to the Department of Commerce, funding for the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company means building can expand for 2 facilities, one in Phoenix and another unannounced location. Funding is tied to the CHIPS Act law that President Biden signed in 2022. This as U.S. leaders push back on what they believe is China's aggressive trade actions.
This includes the issue of China's industrial overcapacity, which the United States and other countries are concerned can cause global spillovers.
Well, President Biden, through the CHIPS law, has promised tens of billions of dollars to support construction of what are called U.S. chip foundries. The plan is to reduce reliance on China.
And we got some strong and severe thunderstorms move through our western counties here in Middle Tennessee, close to the Tennessee River, and those dropped some big hail and a lot of it too. I was showing you some of those pictures earlier in the newscast, some really cool pictures coming out of areas like Camden, and then that storm just kept on moving up to the northeast. It pushed over the Tennessee and Kentucky line, and as it did, it finally started to weaken up quite a bit. It just ran out of fuel to stay strong. So no severe thunderstorm warnings for us right now, none for the rest of the night either. We are not going to see any sort of severe activity for the overnight hours, and a lot of us even going to stay on the dry side of things for tonight too. We will see some shower, or at least the early part of tonight. Some showers will start to move up from the north. I'll show you that in a second. Here's a current radar shot, 1019, still seeing just a few light showers. Most areas though right now are dry. We're going to stay dry for the next several hours, but by about 3-4 o'clock early tomorrow morning, more showers are going to start to move up from the north. This is the 7 o'clock picture. Along and north of I-40, I think we'll see some slightly heavier rainfall amounts. That's where you see those shades of yellow and orange popping up right there on Future Track. Fast forward a few more hours. This is the noon picture. Still off and on showers will be possible, and that's basically going to be the story for us as we head through the rest of the day tomorrow on into Wednesday as well. This is Wednesday morning right there lined up along the Tennessee and Kentucky line. Some showers there. Those will lift northward. More of that moves in from the west though. This is 7 o'clock. They'll push in closer to Interstate 65 areas along and west of 65 Wednesday morning. A good chance for some of those showers, especially earlier in the morning. And then we'll have that other round move through later on in the afternoon. And then for Thursday, we're just looking at a similar situation. More showers and some thunderstorms going to be possible for us as we head throughout the day off and on through Thursday. Once we hit Friday though, we're going to really start to dry out. And I think Friday's looking really good. Temperatures will be in the upper 60s. Saturday we're dry too. Plenty of sunshine on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we could bring in a few more clouds, but overall, I do think we stay mostly dry on Sunday. Severe weather outlook for Tuesday. I think the bulk of the better ingredients are going to stay to the south and west of here. Really not going to have to worry about much of a severe weather threat here in Middle Tennessee for us tomorrow or southern Kentucky. As we head on into Wednesday, we do have this little pocket of green. That's that level 1 risk that has moved into our southern counties right here in Middle Tennessee. We could see a couple of storms try to get on the strong side, but overall, no widespread severe weather. It doesn't look like for Wednesday. And then by Thursday, I think that threat is generally going to be staying in areas to the east of here. As far as rainfall totals go, this is from now through Thursday. I think generally talking 2 to 4 inches of rain. Some areas in our far western spots might get up closer to 5 inches, but overall, I think 2 to 4 inches is fairly safe to say for us for the rainfall amounts from now through Thursday. Here's your 7-day forecast. Lower 70s on Wednesday. We cool off Thursday, Friday a little bit. Upper 60s then. Friday, we are sunny but breezy. Winds could gust up to about 30 miles per hour. So Saturday, upper 70s. Sunday, we'll stay in the upper 70s too, right at 80 on Monday. Plenty of sunshine for us on Saturday.
Cash 3 and Cash 4, only from the Tennessee Lottery.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by the Nashville Preds.
In politics tonight, former President Donald Trump says the question of abortion rights he believes is better left to states like Tennessee.
Well, Michael Yoshida takes a closer look at how Mr. Trump's latest declaration is being received by those on both sides of the aisle.
In his video, former President Donald Trump said he was proud to be the person responsible for helping overturn Roe v. Wade, taking the issue of abortion away from the federal government and bringing it back to the states.
We have abortion where everybody wanted it from a legal standpoint.
In a video posted to his Truth Social account, former President Donald Trump seeming to punt on the issue of abortion, saying after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, abortion rights should now be left to the states.
Many states will be different. Many will have a different number of weeks, or some will have more conservative than others, and that's what they will be. At the end of the day, this is all about the will of the people.
Trump did not indicate the number of weeks during a pregnancy at which he thinks it would be appropriate to ban an abortion, but he did reiterate his support for certain exceptions, such as victims of rape and incest or when a mother's life is in danger. President Joe Biden attacking Trump's abortion message, accusing the former president of lying and saying in part, Trump is scrambling. He's worried that since he's the one responsible for overturning Roe, the voters will hold him accountable in 2024. Well, I have news for Donald. They will. Trump's video also getting immediate backlash from the leading anti-abortion group Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America, writing in part, "We are deeply disappointed in President Trump's position. Unborn children and their mothers deserve national protections and national advocacy." Democrats also criticizing Trump's latest attempt to clarify his stance.
He shouldn't duck this issue. This is an important one for the American public.
After appointing 3 conservatives to the Supreme Court, Democrats have tried to tie Trump to a wave of anti-abortion laws passed since Roe was overturned in 2022. And Trump has acknowledged that debate over abortion has plagued Republicans at the ballot box, adding Monday he believes that voters will ultimately determine the fate of abortion access across the country. For his part, Trump has not said how he'll vote on an abortion access measure that's set to appear on his own Florida ballot later in November. In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
A lot going on this Eclipse Day. So how would you like to be a mom in labor and delivery? I'm Liz Bonus. We're going to hear from a few of those moms talking about babies born this Eclipse Day. We will share it just ahead.
And 52 all-nighters. The meticulously refined Tiguan. Get 0% APR financing or a $2,000 customer bonus on a new 2024 Tiguan during the Volkswagen 75th anniversary sales event.
Well, the path to eclipse totality led one couple to the hospital to expand their family.
Got a smile about this one. Fox 17 medical reporter Liz Bonus tonight to share what they say they plan to say to their son about his historic birthday.
Hey there, everybody. Hello to you. The health team today on Baby Watch. Just wondering how a mom giving birth on this historical day might be feeling about it and what they'd tell their child about it in the future. And lucky for us, Sarah Bruni and Nick Kibler were willing to introduce us to baby Blake. He was born early this morning on this eclipse day. Sarah says yesterday,
I actually went into labor and my water broke at church. I had just walked into church and my water just broke.
We had just got there. I was in the pew, just got in there. She went to the restroom, came back out and said, it's baby time. Water is broken, so it's time to go.
18 hours later, Mom and Dad and big sister Audrey welcomed this 6-pound, 13-ounce baby boy. He's about a week early from Sarah's expected due date, which she says made her wonder.
I always kind of wondered, because there's an old wives' tale that, like, when you're pregnant, it can induce labor in lots of women. So I kind of wondered if it would happen, but it was kind of more of a joke than reality.
The team here at Ohio's Mercy Health Anderson Hospital made Blake's family feel like this is an extra special birthday.
He is the cutest thing.
Complete with a rocket backpack, eclipse glasses, and cookies that at least Audrey could enjoy.
I just want to eat one now.
As for what Blake's family will share with him about this day when this beautiful bundle of joy grows up,
we will definitely be telling him the story, because I think it's a really cool thing that, you know, he's born on a pretty big event, and our lifetime history.
2 life-changing events the same day, both part of a healthy history nobody in this family is ever going to forget. Scientists say right now a baby born today can get to see this kind of eclipse of their own when they're 20. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
Very nice. Over the moon.
Yeah, and you know, we had some strong thunderstorms move through part of our viewing area earlier today. I think no severe weather for us tonight. I think a lot of us even stayed dry, at least for the next few hours, but you're probably going to wake up to some rain showers.